Hey everyone, welcome back to the Healthy Families, Healthy Futures Kitchen. I'm Chef John, and today we're going to make two recipes using ground turkey. Our first one's going to be a turkey burger slider, and our next recipe after that is going to be an Asian-inspired ground turkey lettuce wrap. So stick with us and we'll get started. So to get started with our turkey burger sliders, we're going to saute a little vegetable. Got about a teaspoon of oil there. And I'm going to add some celery and some onion. And I want to make sure that those get nice and soft. And then I'm going to let these cool until they're about room temperature. We don't want to put these hot right out of the pan vegetables into our sliders. We're going to saute these for about 5 minutes. And then we're just going to put them in a bowl, put them in the refrigerator to let them get completely cooled down. We just want to get everything nice and soft. So we certainly don't want to put a hot vegetable in our turkey before we're ready for it. So now while our sauteed vegetables are cooling off, we're going to go ahead and put together our turkey, and then we'll add our vegetables last. I've got about a pound of ground turkey here. One of the things that we know about ground turkey is it can be dry if it's overcooked. So we're going to add some additional things to it. And in this bowl, I'm going to add 1 egg that I have beaten. That'll add some extra moisture liquid to our turkey. And then we're going to add, I've taken about 5 tablespoons of chopped cranberries. This is almost like Thanksgiving and Christmas on a bun. And then we're going to add some chopped spinach. And that's about 1/2 cup of chopped spinach. We'll add some garlic, as much as you like, or as little. Some pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon. About the same for salt. And some Worcestershire sauce. This is just about 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire. Last thing I'm going to add is about 3/4 cup of brown rice that I have already cooked, and this is cold. So I cooked this beforehand and let it sit in the refrigerator till it was ready. So then we're going to add all this together with our vegetables and make them into patties. So this is our sauteed onions and celery, and we're going to add all that. Now we're going to mix everything up, and yes, using your hands is absolutely just fine. Want to get that good and mixed through. Not to over mix it, but you want to make sure everything is just kind of mixed in there together. I'm going to try to get all that rice and vegetables in there together. Right, that looks really good. Don't want to overwork it. Just wanted to kind of get it all pulled together. And we're going to make this into patties. So we're going to go ahead and set these up for the oven. I've taken a sheet pan with some parchment paper. I'm going to give it a spread. And then I'm going to take my patties, make my patties here. And we're making these slider style, so you just want to kind of get a good handful there. That on there. You should be able to get 6 or 7 of these. Don't want to pound them out too thin. We're going to put these in the oven. So that they fit on a slider bun. Sure, get everything out of the bowl. I'm gonna have one little baby. All right. So now that we've got our sliders made, we're gonna go put these in the oven for about 15-20 minutes. They're cooked to an internal temperature of 165. You always want to check your poultry with a thermometer, which we'll do when we bring everything out. So our next recipe is going to be an Asian lettuce wrap using ground turkey as the protein. Before we do this, we're going to make a little sauce. So I'm going to get started with some, I'm using gluten-free soy sauce, which is also known as tamari. Some garlic, about 2 cloves, finely chopped. And also send this through the press. Some salt. And about 3 teaspoons of hoisin sauce. You don't have to use hoisin if you don't have it or you don't have access to it. You can use barbecue sauce. You can even use ketchup. All those will work just fine with this. So I like hoisin. We do a lot of Asian cooking at my house. So we're going to stir that up, whisk that really well. You want to get that nice and mixed through. Lettuce wraps was one of the first things that I could get my kids to eat that wasn't a chicken nugget. So this is really a good way to introduce young children to different cultures, if you will. Really easy to do, super healthy. I am using tamari, which is a gluten-free version of soy sauce. So really healthy in that respect. And I'm just going to sit this off to the side and bring my burner back over here. I'm going to crank it up a little bit. And I have about 1 pound of ground turkey here. And I'm just going to throw that in the skillet. And I'm going to be breaking that up with a spatula. I'm going to try to get this nice and cooked down. About 3-4 minutes on pretty high heat. It should cook pretty fast. There's not a lot of fat in ground turkey. There is some. Probably not as much in ground chicken, but there is still some fat in this, so it will render pretty quick. You can already start to hear it cook. Another really fast dinner idea or a first fast lunch, if you're cooking for your sinners, really easy to do. This takes maybe 15 minutes or so. I did a lot of the work, obviously you do a lot of the prep work ahead of time, but putting it together is really not hard at all. Okay, we've got our turkey browning up pretty good now. We're going to add some additional vegetable items. I've got about half a cup of mushrooms that I'm going to add, and about a half a diced pepper, red pepper. You could use anything else you want to use here. You could use celery if you want an additional crunch. We're going to add some water chestnuts here at the very end. So we're going to go ahead and stir this up, kind of soften things, cook the mushrooms a little bit. Get the peppers going. Really colorful dish. If you don't want to use mushrooms, you can leave them out. If you don't want to use peppers, you can use a different color, or you can just leave them out as well. Not really any, it's not going to hurt either way. If you want to add some onions or green onions, feel free to do that as well. So I'm going to let this keep cooking, and then we're going to add our sauce, and we're virtually done at that point. Just want to get everything nice and hot. You could use different mushrooms. These are white button mushrooms. That's what I had in the pantry, in our refrigerator. You could use baby bellas. You could use oyster mushrooms, which is more of a traditional Asian mushroom. But whatever your family likes or whatever you like to cook with. We're coming down to the end of this. Let's let that cook for a couple of minutes while I get our lettuce out. We're going to add our sauce now. This is the sauce we made at the very beginning. Get all that in there. I'm going to make sure that gets stirred in all the way through. Also adds a little color to the turkey. And our last item is a can of diced water chestnuts. If you don't like them, you can leave them out. You can use celery instead. It gets a nice little crunch to the wrap. We're just going to heat that through. And I had drained those off, by the way. And you can find them in your Asian section in most supermarkets. Again, totally optional to use. And we'll give that a couple of minutes to cook. And we'll talk about the lettuce. I'm using what they call bib lettuce. Very typical of what you see in the Asian restaurants for lettuce wraps. You could also use iceberg lettuce. You could use whatever lettuce you like, romaine, any of that will work. These are just small leaves of lettuce. I usually get them in a plastic container in the grocery store. Iceberg will work just fine with this. I've actually seen it done with even raw collard leaves. So if you wanted to use a green, like a collard or something like that, you could certainly do that. All right, let's plate these guys up. Okay, so we're going to plate up our lettuce wraps. I'm going to lay up a couple of the lettuce leaves out here on the plate. And then I'm just going to spoon the filling right onto the lettuce. And this makes a lot. So this is 1 pound of turkey. And you can get, 6, 8, 10 servings out of this fairly easy. I'll add another one here. If you don't want to use the lettuce, certainly you can put this in a bowl. And eat it like that. This is also not a very spicy dish at this point. If you wanted to add some spice to it, certainly feel free. Some gochujang, some sriracha, something like that to spring up the spice level if that's, if you want to do that. Children, I think young children will eat it just fine, just like it is. So there's our ground turkey lettuce wraps, Asian inspired. Okay, while we were putting together our lettuce wraps, our turkey burger sliders got complete. I took them out, temped them, let them sit for a little bit, and we're going to dress these up. I'm going to go ahead and put this on a bun. I'm going to put a piece of my lettuce in my bun, and I'm going to put a little barbecue sauce on the other side of my bun. Use ketchup, mustard, whatever you have. This is kind of how I dress mine up. Sprinkle a little cheese on top. There's one. We'll do another one. They're small. You could add all the same condiments you would with a regular burger. And a little cheese on top. This is just some farmhouse cheddar that I had that was shredded. Okay. All right, we're going to wrap this up now. We finished our turkey burgers off. They look great. We used brown rice, some onion, some celery, and we baked them. And then we used some barbecue sauce for some additional flavor and some cheese. Over here on this side, we have our Asian-inspired lettuce wraps done with ground turkey, red bell pepper, some water chestnuts, and we made a sauce using hoisin and some tamari, or gluten-free soy sauce. I hope you enjoy these recipes. Give them a try. I think you'll like them. I think your family will also like them, and your sinners. And I'm Chef John, and we'll see you next time.